Every time she woke up from the long, dreamy, and yet deep sleep, in which one merges entirely with what one dreams, she felt the same shy, hesitant tenderness toward the things of the world that made clear to her how much of her actual life had sunken completely into itself. Like sleep, one might say, if there can be anything comparable to it in normal life, how much had run its course. For already early in her life, strangeness and tenderness threatened to become inseparable. Tenderness meant shy, reticent affection, not surrendering, but a probing that was caress, joy, and surprise at strange forms. The rigidity, the sense of being hunted, so that joy and suffering, pain and despair ran through her as if she were dead flesh, obliterated all reality, caused the present to shrivel, as it were, and the only thing that remained certain was that everything comes to an end. So her radical nature, which once made it possible for her to bear and maintain the greatest extremes, had changed, and she felt as if everything were now slipping away, vanishing, except when she tried to ingratiate herself with submissive friendliness, pale and colorless, with the hidden uncanniness of a shadow stealing across a path.
My dearest, when I gave you the manuscript today, your elementary joy overwhelmed me and made me helpless. I gave you a piece of my soul, little enough for your love, but your joyful gratitude towered over everything. Was it chance that you brought along the manuscript when I intended to ask you for it, in order to give it back to you as a gift, as a symbol of how you'll live in my work from now on, with the inexhaustible impulse of the shy, retiring affection that has helped you discover your essence with such extraordinary clarity? Since I read your diary, I can no longer say, you don't understand that. You sense it, and follow along. There are shadows only where there is sun, and that is the foundation of your soul. You come straight from the center of your existence to be close to me, and you've become a force that will influence my life forever. Fragmentation and despair will never yield to anything like your supportive love in my work. Your letter to Castle left me moved for days. If you want to have me, if you like, what can I still do in the face of such shy and yet so resolute waiting, such persistence? What have I brought you but the most difficult burden? And has it not been in a continual sacrifice of your soul and your shy, quiet yes in the train station? And as you forced me away from you, only then were you really close to me, and your essence revealed to me. At that moment, you spoke, wordlessly, completely freely to me. Since that wondrous reparting, which put me in your debt, I have been calm and happy about your life and its certainty and power. Shadows were cast by your surroundings, by the age, by the forced maturity of a young life. I would not love you if I were not convinced that those shadows are not you, but distortions and illusions produced by an endless self-erosion that penetrated from the outside. Your starting admission will not undermine my belief in the genuine, rich impulses of your existence. On the contrary, for me it is proof that you have moved into the open, although the way out of such an existential contortions, which are not really yours, will be long. The background, surroundings, and possibilities of my life were simpler, in terms of keeping instincts under control, attaining objectivity, and managing work easily, than that of many young people today. And as a result, it has been easy for me to do you wrong, even you, by understanding you. But the closeness of your being, and now your photographs, are so incontestable to me that, quite apart from knowing love, I will never believe you could or would live your life in idle experiments. You were so happy today when you arrived, sparkling and free, just as I hoped you would be on your return to Marburg. I was dazed by the splendor of this human existence. Who am I allowed to be close to? And when you asked, as I apparently seemed absent, if you should go, then I was with you, entirely alone, free of worldly cares and doubt, in the clear joy that you exist. I'll be lecturing in room 11 again. 4. Do you know what that means? Dear Hannah, the rumors that are upsetting you are slanders that are perfect matches for other experiences I have endured over the last few years. I cannot very well exclude Jews from the seminar invitations, not least because I have not had a single seminar invitation in the last 4 years. That I supposedly don't say hello to Jews is such a malicious piece of gossip that in any case I will have to take note of it for the future. As clarification of how I behave towards Jews, here are the following facts. I am on sabbatical this winter semester, and thus, in the summer, I announced, well in advance, that I wanted to be left alone and would not be accepting projects and the like. The man who comes anyways and urgently wants to write a dissertation is a Jew. The man who comes to see me every month to report on a large work in progress, neither a dissertation nor a habilitation project, is also a Jew. The man who sent me a substantial text for urgent reading a few weeks ago is a Jew. The two fellows of the Not-Gemeinschaft, whom I helped get accepted in the last 3 semesters, are Jews. The man who, with my help, got a stipend to go to Rome is a Jew. Whoever wants to call that raging anti-Semitism is welcome to do so. Beyond that, I am now just as much an anti-Semite in university issues as I was 10 years ago in Marburg, where, because of this anti-Semitism, I earned Jacob Stahl's and Friedlander's support. To say absolutely nothing about my personal relationships with Jews, for example, Herzl, Mishk, Kasuri, and others. And above all, it cannot touch my relationship to you. For a long while, I have been quite withdrawn in general, not least because my work has been met by hopeless incomprehension, but also on account of some less than pleasant personal experiences that have resulted from my teaching. In any case, I have long since given up expecting any sort of gratitude, or even just decency from so-called disciplines. Beyond that, I am cheerfully at work, which is becoming increasingly difficult, and wish you all the best.
From the moment I left the house and got into the car, I have been writing this letter, and now, late at night, I cannot write after all. I'm using a typewriter because my fountain pen is broken and my handwriting has become illegible. This evening and this morning are the confirmation of an entire life, a confirmation that, when it comes down to it, was never expected. When the waiter spoke your name, I had not actually expected you, had not received the letter after all. It was as if time suddenly stood still. Then, all at once, I became aware of something I would not have confessed before, neither to myself, nor to you, nor to anyone. However, after Friedrich had given me the address, the power of the impulse had mercifully saved me from committing the only really inexcusable act of infidelity and forfeiting my life. But one thing you should know, as we have had relatively little to do with each other, after all, and that not as openly as we might have. If I had done it, then it would only have been out of pride. That is, out of sheer crazy stupidity, not for reasons. I came without knowing what your wife expected of me. I had read the letter in the car, half asleep. If I had known, I never would have refused for a second. My original refusal was based entirely on what, after all, had also been hinted at by the mention of German woman, and on what I had been told that very afternoon at tea. Please, do not misunderstand. It's all the same to me personally. I have never considered myself a German woman, and have long since stopped considering myself a Jewish woman. I feel just like what I am now, after all, the girl from abroad. I was and am shaken by the honesty and urgency of the reproach, but I said maybe out of a sudden feeling of solidarity with her, and out of a sudden surge of sympathy. Objectively, I should add that I did not, of course, remain silent, just as a matter of discretion, but also as a matter of pride, but also as a matter of love for you, not to make anything more difficult than it must be. I left Marburg exclusively for your sake. Off the beaten track is lying on my bedside table. I have begun the Heraclitus with great pleasure. I am delighted with the Pola Tadena. It is entirely successful. I was lucky. In a way, when I arrived here, I had to send the car back, along with the chauffeur, so now I have 2 days to rest. I can put off everything and definitely come on March. I'm flying 4th to the 5th. Berlin on Saturday, where I will stay until Friday, then Saturday, Sunday here and on to the British zone. If you could come here next Saturday, Sunday, very northern, my treat.